So it looked like Nike has found themselves in a world of trouble after this big-time Super Bowl commercial.
It looks like Nike is in some serious hot water after their big Super Bowl commercial. Did you see it? They dropped a major ad right after the Super Bowl, and people are absolutely losing it, but not in a good way. Caitlin Clark, the superstar of women's basketball, was featured in their Super Bowl spot, and fans were all excited. But then, Nike followed up with a new promo for a t-shirt featuring the athletes from that commercial. And guess what? They didn't even mention Caitlin's name.
And then we're going to have a couple Caitlin Clark cameos here and there just to appease everybody, okay? Just to appease everybody. That's what we're going to do. But the day after, that's when we really roll out the real commercial.
How crazy is that? All the other athletes got a shout out, but Caitlin? Nothing. It was as if she didn't even exist. Nike did throw in a few quick Caitlin cameos to calm the waters, but here's where things went from bad to worse. The day after, the real
24 hours after a big-time Nike commercial that pretty much starred Caitlin Clark and other women athletes, Nike had found themselves in serious hot water after another commercial that has been released about the t-shirt I reported on yesterday.
Backlash started rolling in. 1 minute, Nike is riding high on the success of the Super Bowl commercial, and the next, they're caught up in a social media firestorm. Here's what went down. Super Bowl Sunday. Nike drops this amazing commercial, and Caitlin Clark is front and center looking like the superstar she is. Fans are going wild.
You can't speak up. You can't be so ambitious. You can't break records. You can't have any fun. You can't make demands. You can't keep score. You can't stand out. Whatever you do, you can't win.
Social media is buzzing, and everyone's celebrating how Nike is finally giving women's sports the spotlight it deserves. Everyone's excited to see one of the biggest names in women's basketball get some well-earned recognition, but here's where the problem started. The next day, Nike released a promo for a commemorative t-shirt that was supposed to honor all the athletes in that.
Wanna know what I'm selling? I'm selling greatness! Asia Wilson, 3-time MVP. We got Jordan Childs, we got Juju Watkins, we got Sha'Carri Richardson. Okay. We got Arena Sabalenka.
Champion.
Hustling is not easy, but I love it. Sabrina, I know you want a tea. Thinking about it? You're thinking about it. They're gonna go fast, kind of like Sha'Carri. I accept card. Where's the card? Come on.
Oh, wait, what's that box?
These don't come out till March. They may or may not be shirts, but if I tell you, I'm gonna have to kill you. Oh, you want one of these? Nike.com.
That commercial. Fans were eagerly waiting to hear Caitlin's name. They waited and waited, but it never came. The ad lists athletes like Asia Wilson, Jordan Child, Juju Watkins, Sha'Carri Richardson, Sabrina Ionescu.
It was reported that Caitlin Clark will be featured on a Nike t-shirt alongside everybody else that starred in that Nike commercial yesterday at the Super Bowl. Well, I'm here to tell you, they released a new ad in regards to that t-shirt and the one with Caitlin Clark with the light bulb, and she's pretty much the A. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I reported on that last week, man. Why did Nike do this?
But Caitlin's name? Not a mention. After breaking records left and right and being the face of that Super Bowl ad, it's like Nike completely forgot about her. Nike actually left out Caitlin Clark's name from the entire promo for the shirt. Fans couldn't believe it. One fan tweeted, "Why wasn't Caitlin Clark's name mentioned?" Good question, right?
That Nike has, and as y'all can see, that's the shirt with all of the athletes that featured in that commercial on it. Something that stood out among the Caitlin Clark fan base is them not mentioning Caitlin Clark's name at all in this whole damn ad.
If you're going to feature someone in your big Super Bowl ad, don't you think you should, I don't know, acknowledge them? And it wasn't just confusion. Fans were genuinely upset. One said, "How can they forget Caitlin Clark? This is messed up." They felt like Nike had taken a huge step backward in honoring female.
The other person said, "Y'all never beaten the allegations, Nike. Why put Caitlin Clark jersey in this BS? If this lady won't say her name, and she should, dumb."
Maleathletes.so, how could a big brand like Nike mess up so badly? Well, sometimes it's these little oversights that can turn into big problems. Fans expect more, especially when it comes to recognizing athletes who are making history. Nike is in some serious hot water after their Super Bowl commercial. Did you see it? Right after the big game, they released this ad featuring Caitlin Clark, one of the top names in women's basketball, and fans were hyped. But the excitement...
So, the WNBA, heck, women's sports, it seems, has its own Lord Voldemort. She who shall not be named. Because we saw ESPN of every single female athlete that appeared during the Super Bowl, named all of them. Named every single one of them. Except number 22 from Indiana.
Didn't last long. Less than 24 hours later, Nike dropped another promo, this time for a t-shirt featuring all the athletes from that Super Bowl ad. But here's the kicker, they didn't even mention Caitlin's name. You read that right? Every other athlete got their name called out, but Caitlin? Nothing. It's like she didn't even exist. Fans were furious.
After we had such a great time during the Super Bowl yesterday, this is crazy, man. I don't know who the admin is over their PR or with these commercials, but they don't like Caitlin Clark, bro. It's clear as day that they don't like her.
One person tweeted, if you're not even going to mention her name while you mention everyone else, you might as well drop her and let her sign with a company that truly values her. Ouch. That's got to hurt, Nike. And it didn't stop there. The internet exploded with comments like, you guys are a bunch of clowns at Nike. People were mad, and I mean...
Somebody else said, what a joke. I'm so over Nike. I think I will put my money in other places. CC is actually signed with boycott Nike.
Really mad. It was like Nike took all the goodwill they earned from that Super Bowl ad and threw it out the window. Fans started comparing Caitlin to he who must not be named. Yep, some actually called her Lord Voldemort in Nike's marketing. Talk about a PR disaster. Here's where it gets even worse. This isn't a one-off mistake.
To be honest, I'm not even blaming Nike at this stage. I'm blaming 22 from Indiana's agent. Because you better believe, if 22 from Indiana, like Asia, like Juju, was a member of Clutch Sports, this ad would not have seen light. This ad would not have been released. This ad would not have been released. It just wouldn't have. This ad would not have been released.
Fans are pointing out that this seems to be part of a pattern. From delays on sneaker releases to poor marketing support, it's like Nike can't figure out how to handle one of the biggest stars in women's basketball, and now, it's getting ugly. Fans are starting to talk boycott. No Caitlin Clark mention, no...
They named all of them. And now with Nike, they're listing out the names of this. And of course, who do they ignore? The number 22 out of Indiana. Let's take a look at the Nike commercial. And by the way, the most popular of all these sports people is number 22 out of Indiana.
Money, one fan declared. They're serious. Some are even saying they're done with Nike and will take their business elsewhere. Nike had a golden opportunity, and they fumbled it. Fans are so upset, they're organizing online. They want justice for Caitlin Clark, and they're not letting it go. And here's the kicker, while
it said you guys are a bunch of clowns at Nike, at Soul Retriever. Somebody else stated, seriously, if you're not even going to mention her name while you mention everyone else, you might as well drop her and let her sign with the company that truly values her.
Nike was trying to avoid controversy, they might have just created their biggest PR nightmare yet. The worst part? It's not just about one ad anymore. Fans are starting to realize it's a bigger issue, and they're not going to stand for it. If Nike doesn't make things right, it might just cost them more than they realize. Nike is finding itself in deep trouble after what should have been a win.
Somebody said Nike, and that is why you are broke. I miss the old leadership so much. Someone said no Caitlin Clark mentioned, no money. Somebody else said you was doing so well. Wasn't they doing good? They was doing so good. Yesterday was a class act. Oh my God. Somebody else said, well, LOL. Somebody said Nike, it was right there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was right there.
Their big Super Bowl commercial. Caitlin Clark, one of the biggest stars in women's basketball, was featured front and center. Fans were ecstatic, but then, 24 hours later, they released another ad promoting a t-shirt featuring the same athletes from that commercial.
Yeah, like at this stage, the only person you can blame is the agent of 22 for Indiana. That's the only person you can blame, because like that Nike deal is one of the worst deals ever signed in sports.
Here's the issue, they didn't even mention Caitlin's name. Can you believe that? All the other athletes got their shout-outs, but Caitlin Clark, the one who brought all the hype, was completely left out. It's no surprise that fans are furious. One fan said, if you're not going to mention her name while you mention everyone else...
And the worst part is that Nike are fumbling so badly, is their company's on the ropes, they needed that Super Bowl commercial where she's front and center in that. But like as soon as it's anyone has to speak a word out of their mouth, she's Lord Voldemort.
Else, you might as well drop her and let her sign with a brand that truly values her. Ouch, and it didn't stop there. People took to social media in droves, calling Nike out for what they saw as disrespect. It's like Nike's PR department took a nosedive right after that Super Bowl ad. Fans started comparing Caitlin Clark.
So, like, you put all the blame, like, if 22 from Indiana signed with Clutch Sports, the shoe's already released, she probably makes 40 mil from that shoe deal minimum, not 28 mil. And she would not have signed an 8-year deal with Nike.
Clark to he who must not be named, aka Lord Voldemort, calling out the marketing fail of epic proportions, but this isn't a one-time mistake. Fans are convinced this is part of a bigger problem, a pattern of neglect from Nike. From delays in her signature sneakers to lackluster marketing support, it's as if Nike...
I wish Caitlin nothing but the best, and I don't want to believe it's Nike, man. I really don't want to believe it's Nike, the brand. I want to believe it's the people that work for Nike, you know, that keep dropping the ball on this Caitlin Clark stuff.
He doesn't know how to handle one of the biggest names in sports today. And that's not just frustrating for Caitlin's fans, it's bad for women's sports as a whole now. Some are even suggesting that Caitlin's agency is part of the problem. If she had a stronger agency behind...
You're just fueling the false narrative that black players don't like Caitlin Clark, which I have to agree with that, bro. This is looking really spooky by Nike, dog.
Behind her, perhaps we'd see her face everywhere, billboards, commercials, you name it. Instead, it feels like Nike's trying to keep her in the shadows. Here's the thing, Nike's actions have sparked a movement. Fans are pushing for Caitlin to get the recognition she deserves. They're talking boycotts, demanding that another brand step up and appreciate her value. And it's not just talk, it's action.
Somebody else said, so you make this ad and you mention everyone else except Caitlin Clark. She is the reason for all of the hype. Show the respect she deserves. Can't wait for Cece to go with another brand. Will respect her. Your history is bookmarked.
People are rallying behind her, using hashtags like #BoycottNike, showing their support for the player who's earned it.so. What's Nike going to do about it? The ball's in their court. Fans aren't backing down anytime soon. They're done waiting for Nike to get it right, and if they don't step up, they risk losing one of the biggest stars in basketball. Let's see if...
Really don't want to believe it's Nike itself, but it's looking real spooky in the Nike department, bro. Like, we have been getting like late news when it comes to her sneakers, late news when it comes to her shirts, and it's just been looking real spooky from the Nike department, bro.
It looks like Nike is in some serious hot water after their big Super Bowl commercial. Did you see it? They dropped a major ad right after the Super Bowl, and people are absolutely losing it, but not in a good way. Caitlin Clark, the superstar of women's basketball, was featured in their Super Bowl spot, and fans were all excited. But then, Nike followed up with a new promo for a
and it's looking like a lot of Caitlin Clark fans is keeping receipts with all of the nonsense Nike has been doing, man. This is wrong, and it's just unfortunate, you know. Time and time again, we find ourselves in this Nike situation with them kind of not showing Caitlin Clark love. I'm here to tell you, dog, it's looking very spooky yet again from the Nike department.
T-shirt featuring the athletes from that commercial. And guess what? They didn't even mention Caitlin's name. How crazy is that? All the other athletes got a shout out, but Caitlin? Nothing. It was as if she didn't even exist. Nike did throw in a few quick Caitlin cameos to calm the waters, but here's where things went from bad.
But yeah, man, as y'all can see there, Nike has failed to say anything about Caitlin, man. Like I say, it's very unfortunate coming off the day that we had yesterday with that Super Bowl commercial, getting all of the behind the scenes stuff look with Caitlin after that commercial, and for them to sit up here, drop another commercial, look 24 hours later, and not even mention her name. The level of disrespect is at an all-time high.
Add to worse. The day after, the real backlash started rolling in. 1 minute, Nike is riding high on the success of the Super Bowl commercial, and the next, they're caught up in a social media firestorm. Here's what went down, Super Bowl Sunday. Nike drops this amazing
By the end, if she was to negotiate that deal right now, it would be minimum 10 million a year, and she signed long-term for 3 million a year. The Under Armour deal was so much better. 4 years, 16 million. and immediately being what the Aaron Fox is and the face of the Curry line. And you got your signature shoe basically straight away. You go to Under Armour 4-year, 16 mil, and because 4 years a lot shorter than 8, with the potential of you leaving, you would be in a position to renegotiate now for maybe even an additional 2 years, but instead of 4 mil a year, you're getting 12 million a year.
Commercial, and Caitlin Clark is front and center looking like the superstar she is. Fans are going wild, social media is buzzing, and everyone's celebrating how Nike is finally giving women's sports the spotlight it deserves. Everyone's excited to see one of...
And at this stage, like, I would be tempted to go to another shoe brand. I'd be tempted to go to another shoe brand and be like, look, buy out my Nike deal. Just buy it out. Buy it out. Like, Caitlin Clark's... Oh, I said her name, damn. Her, realistically, she could command 10-year, 80 million minimum. She could go to any other brand and double the amount of money per year Nike are paying her and get that brand to buy out her Nike contract on top of that.
The biggest names in women's basketball get some well-earned recognition, but here's where the problem started. The next day, Nike released a promo for a commemorative t-shirt that was supposed to honor all the athletes in that commercial. Fans were eagerly waiting to hear Caitlin's name. They waited and waited, but it never came. The ad lists athletes like Asia Wilson, Jordan Child.
But yeah, you have your most popular athlete, not named LeBron James, or Michael Jordan, obviously. Your second most popular athlete, maybe most popular right now, including LeBron. And you are not only not, like, the only thing they've had is the really awful, like, stage light t-shirt, the rookie of the year one, which is just text on a t-shirt, and you've now got the text on a t-shirt rookie of the year one, and now obviously her face is on one of the t-shirts where, you know, she's on it with the likes of Paige Beck and Juju, and they'll mention Juju Watkins. They will mention the 5th best player in college basketball, but not mention the most popular women's basketball player in the history of the sport.
Juju Watkins, Sha'Carri Richardson, Sabrina Ionescu, but Caitlin's name? Not a mention. After breaking records left and right and being the face of that Super Bowl ad, it's like Nike completely forgot about her. Nike actually left out Caitlin Clark's name from the entire promo for the shirt. Fans couldn't believe it. One fan tweeted, "Why wasn't Caitlin Clark's name mentioned?" Good question, right? If you're going to feature someone in your big Super Bowl ad, don't you think you should, I don't know, acknowledge them? And it wasn't just confusion. Fans were genuinely upset. One said, "How can they forget Caitlin Clark? This is messed up." They felt like Nike